All right, let's just jump right in. You know that feeling, right? When you're just haunted by a past mistake? That one moment you wish you could just rewind and do over. It's a feeling that can really stick to you, and it shapes how you see yourself. But what if the case you keep trying to reopen in your own mind has actually officially been closed for good? So, let me ask you this directly. Why do you do it? Why do you keep going back to that mental crime scene? You know the one. You just replay the whole thing, the words, the failure, every last detail. It feels like you're some kind of detective, but you're also the suspect, and you're the judge, and you're the jury, all rolled into one. And every single time you go back there, you just walk away feeling worse. So let's call it what it feels like. It's a lingering crime scene. It's this place where something went terribly wrong, and all the emotional evidence is just still scattered everywhere, screaming for your attention. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of the problem. This endless, looping track of guilt and self-condemnation. It feels like a life sentence. But it's this bizarre kind of prison where you're not just the inmate, you're also the warden who keeps locking yourself back in the cell every single day. It's completely exhausting, and it feels like there's just no way out. But what if there's a counter argument to all that feeling? And I don't mean just a hopeful thought. I mean something way more solid. What if there's been a formal, legal declaration that changes literally everything? Okay, now this slide gets to the core of a really powerful idea from the book of Hebrews. When the Bible says God remembers sins no more, it's not suggesting like divine amnesia, as if God suddenly got forgetful. Not at all. It's a legal term. Think of it this way. It means your record has been wiped clean. The offense is no longer on the books. It cannot be brought up against you in court ever again. Your actual legal status has fundamentally changed. And here it is, the declaration itself, stated in the most absolute terms possible. This isn't a suggestion. It's not a maybe. It is a divine verdict. It declares the matter is settled, the debt has been paid, and the record is expunged. This right here is the foundation for a totally new way of thinking about our past. So this brings us to the main event, doesn't it? The central battleground, which is this internal courtroom where guilt is the relentless prosecutor and you're the one stuck on the stand. So check this out. On one side, you've got the voice of guilt, and its whole argument is that you have to stay in court forever. You got to keep bringing up new evidence, trying to prove you've changed, constantly trying to convince the judge that, hey, I'm really not that bad. But faith's defense, it's completely different. It doesn't even bother arguing the facts of the case. It just stands up and says, objection, this case is already over. The sentence was served, but by someone else. You know, every single court case has to come to an end. There's always a final verdict. So let's take a look at what that verdict is in your case. And boom, this quote from Martin Luther just perfectly captures the heart of the defense. It is so, so powerful. See, he's not arguing his innocence. He's actually pleading guilty. He says, yep, everything the prosecution is saying, it's true. I admit it all. But then he points to his substitute, to Jesus, and says, but he already made satisfaction on my behalf. In legal terms, that just means the debt was paid in full. That one move completely flips the entire trial on its head. And because that payment was accepted, the gavel comes down, hard. The debate is over, the verdict is in, the case is closed. So the verdict has been read. The courtroom doors swing wide open. The question now has nothing to do with the trial. The question is, what are you going to do next? How do you walk out of that courtroom and into the world? So what does this freedom actually look like? Well, it really boils down to two simple but absolutely profound realities. Number one, you are not disqualified. That mistake, that failure, that thing you can't stop replaying, it does not take you out of the game. It doesn't get to define your future. And number two, you are forgiven. Not kinda, not for a little while, you are completely and judicially forgiven. And maybe this right here is the most important takeaway of all. Your job is no longer to stand in that courtroom and argue your case. That fight is over. The real challenge now, the real work for you, is to walk out of that courtroom, hear those echoes of the prosecutor fading away behind you, and actually believe that the verdict is real. To start living as if the case is truly, finally closed. So I just want to leave you with this. The judgment has been handed down. You are free to go. The only thing left to decide is this. How are you going to live in light of that freedom, now that you never, ever have to go back to the crime scene of your past again?